Hey guys, movie for you guys. Now this movie reviewing, this is a movie that I was very skeptical about going into it. I really didn't know how this movie was going to be. I was hoping for the best, but I really didn't know. And it took me a while to finally watch the movie, but that movie is Trolls. As you guys know, this is a movie that on the November movie preview, we were all very divided on. I was kind of looking forward to it. Everyone else either had seen it and thought it was okay, or they were like very much dreading it. I was on the side where I was trying to stay positive. I was saying, okay, the cast is good. I think the concept's interesting. It just looked really cheesy and just not really all that great of a film, but I heard good things about it, and finally I've seen Trolls, and I will say, overall, how do I feel about Trolls? Trolls is a not a great movie. It's not a bad movie. It is a perfectly harmless, fun film that I think is really good for kids, and that's great. It's just not really for anyone else. This is the kind of movie that you're not really going to get much from, and I'll get into that, but let's get to the plot of Trolls. The plot of this movie is very, very basic. There's really not much to say about it. There's not much to say about this movie in general. I don't have a ton to say about it. I don't expect this review to be too long. Probably no longer than like not 10 minutes, honestly, because I really don't have much to say about it. But, the plot of Trolls, essentially, is that you have these trolls who they live in this village. You know, they're always happy. They sing a lot and things like that. But their main threat are these Bergens, basically. These Bergens are after them because of the fact that they don't have happiness. They can't have happiness unless they eat a troll. And the only way that they feel somewhat good about themselves is if they eat a troll, and they need to try to protect everyone from the Bergens and things like that. And that basically is... And there's more to it, but that's roughly the plot of Trolls overall. But that's basically all I really want to say when it comes to the plot. Let's get into this movie, starting off with the acting and the characters. Give this movie is that it actually does have really good characters. While I think this movie, like I said, is very childish, I think the characters are actually very well thought out. Now, Anna Kendrick, as you guys know, this is someone that I really do love. I think she's made way too many movies this year. Not her fault. Some of these were like movies that were shelved and they've come out, but this movie, I thought she was really good as Poppy. You could tell that, yeah, Poppy is someone that could get a little bit annoying at points, but what I like about Poppy is that she does actually have emotions. Yes, she's always happy all the time, but if something goes wrong, there's this one scene where things actually aren't going Poppy's way, and I actually really thought it was a very impressive scene, the way they showed that Poppy is someone who's just very positive and oozes all this positivity and tries to get everyone to look at the bright side. There's this scene at the third act of the movie where she actually starting to feel somewhat upset, and it was probably one of my favorite scenes in the movie. I really like what Anna Kendrick did here. You could really tell she was having a lot of fun in this role, and it's really just a very fun role to watch. I thought overall she did a really good job. I like what she did here, and overall Anna Kendrick was definitely really good here. Really did like her. However, by far the highlight of this movie, the best character without a doubt, is Justin Timberlake as Branch. This is a character that I very much really enjoyed, because this is a character that, if you know from the trailer, is pretty much completely devoid of happiness. He doesn't understand why everyone's happy. He can't get happy himself. He's very paranoid. He's had a very rough past, and I thought overall his character was very interesting. I like where they went with his character, like the bonding between him and Poppy. I thought overall they both were very interesting. And the way that they kind of relied on each other, I really did like seeing it. When it was eventually revealed why Branch was so unhappy, it is kind of silly, but overall I thought it did make sense. I thought they did a pretty good job with it overall, and I thought Justin Timberlake did a really good job in this role, especially the fact that he doesn't sing a lot. It's a very different role for him, and I like what he did here. He was definitely really fun to watch, and overall I think these two really do make the movie. They overall really did do a great job, and not obviously the best written characters of the year, but I really did like what they did with them, and it took what could have been really dumb cliche characters and made them somewhat good, and I really like what they did with them overall. Now, the rest of the characters in this movie, I don't really have a ton to say about. Zooey Deschanel plays Bridget. She is your typical kind-hearted Bergen who has a crush on Prince Gritzel, the main threat in this movie. She was fine for what she was in. Russell Brand was really, really underused as Creek. I can't really remember his character at all. He was okay. I just don't really remember him, to be honest with you. There's just not really much to say about him. He was okay what he was in, but just not really a ton to say. But Christopher Mintz-Plasse as Prince Gritzel, I really like what we got of him in the movie, because this is someone who's very conflicted. He's a prince of the Bergens, but he's never actually ate a troll, and he's very conflicted with, you know, is this the right thing to do? Does he really want to eat a troll? Is this Is there other ways to find happiness? And I like his conflict throughout the movie. I thought overall he was really good. And then Christine Baranski, you can tell she's having tons of fun as chef, the mean-spirited chef, who's trying to get Prince Gritzel to eat the trolls. I thought she definitely did a really good job. Overall, everyone did a really good job in this movie. I didn't really think there was a bad performance there, and I think everyone, for the most part, really did seem like they were having a lot of fun, and you definitely do see that here. So that's really what I have to say about the acting. There's really not a ton to say about, but let's get into the directing and the screenplay, because, like I said, this is a movie that is perfectly fine for kids, but that's the thing. It's a very kiddie film. This is not and what I mean by kiddie is that it's a movie that has humor for kids. It doesn't really have a ton of stuff for adults. I mean, I know two people who I watched this movie with. They absolutely hated this movie, so take it or leave it, really. I thought it was okay. I thought it was kind of cute, but most people, the two people that I was watching this with, genuinely hated this movie. Now, the directing here, I thought worked really well. The tone was definitely very well executed throughout this movie. It's a very fun, simple film, and I thought they did that really well with the directing. There's not really a ton to say about it. I thought the tone was pretty good. There are definitely some tone shifts throughout in the third act of the movie, definitely, but I thought for the most part it worked really well, and I definitely did like what they did with that. So overall, I thought the directing was okay. Now, the screenplay is something that a lot of people are going to complain about, and I'm not gonna lie, it's not the best screenplay in the world, but it's really good for kids. This movie actually does have, I think, a really good message about what it means to have happiness. And the big message the movie's trying to say is that one does not need things to make them happy. One just needs to find happiness within themselves. And I think it's a very good message for kids. And we need to keep in mind that that's what this is. It's a very good kids film. It's a movie that has a very good message for kids. It's a movie that kids will really get something good from. And that's something that I was very happy about, that kids will get something really good from this movie. And I definitely did get that. I liked seeing that in this movie. I didn't get a ton from it, obviously, because I already knew that message. But I think this is definitely something that kids will really enjoy. The humor really was not up my alley. I definitely will say that. There weren't a ton of times where I was laughing. There were a couple jokes I chuckled at. I will admit, there were definitely some jokes I thought were funny. But for the most part, a lot of the jokes, I wouldn't say were flat, because they're not. They're just very childish. There's something that'll appeal to a young child and not really to someone my age. I mean, they're pretty much like Nick Jr. or Disney Jr. jokes, if you guys know those kind of jokes. That's what this is. It very much felt like a Nick Jr. or Disney Jr. kind of film, and that's perfectly fine. I mean, there are reasons why we have that stuff. We want to teach kids good lessons. That's what they're for. That's what they're marketed for. So I really had no problem with the screenplay being childish. It's kind of my same complaint with Home, that Home was very much for kids, but not really for adults and things like that. This movie really didn't have anything for me. I thought the story overall was interesting, where they went with it. I will admit, there are some things in this movie that are completely absurd, especially the ending. I think the ending is definitely very abrupt where it goes into, but for the most part, I think this is something where kids really aren't going to notice that, and that's completely fine. The movie's made for them, and I think they did that really well. The two things I will give this movie, first of all, the cinematography is gorgeous to look at. This is a very glossy, very detailed film, and I think they did a really good job with the cinematography overall. It's a movie that's very hard to get bored while looking at, because even if the movie itself you're bored by, you still get to look at this stunning, stunning animation that's just so interesting to look at. A lot of people compare it to Smurfs, and I would say, yeah, but they're all the Smurfs were blue. All the trolls are different colors, so I would say it's a little bit different than Smurfs, definitely. I thought the cinematography was really good to look at. I thought the animation was really well done, and I really did like the animation overall. And then the score in this movie, I thought was really well done. It's a mix of modern and 80s music, and for the most part, it worked really well. Some of it was really funny. There's one gag with the song Sound of Silence that I almost lost it. I thought that scene was pretty funny. And when they do sing Can't Stop the Feeling, I thought it actually worked really well. The fact the movie was a musical, I thought worked. They actually do make fun of the fact the movie's a musical. So the movie is somewhat self-aware, and that's something else I was very impressed by. So the score I overall really did enjoy. I was getting into the music, but I'm not gonna lie, when there wasn't music going on, I really was not into that much. I wasn't like completely into it. I thought it was okay, but I wasn't as into it when there wasn't music going on, because the music's a lot of fun to watch, and Anna Kendrick's such a talented singer, or Zooey Deschanel is really good. These are really good singers. You could really tell they tried to cast people who are very competent singers, and they did a really good job with that. It's just when there's not singing going on, I kind of found myself bored. The editing's fine. This movie flew by for me. I really have no problems with the editing. I think it's the perfect length for kids as well. Like, kids will not get bored watching this movie at all. They will be completely into it the whole time, and that's completely fine. Overall, But overall, guys, there's really nothing inherently terrible about Trolls. Trolls is just a very simple film that I really don't have a ton to say about. It's really good for kids. It's not really something that I'd ever watch again, but it's something that I will admit I did kind of have a fun time watching. It's just not really an animated movie that I say, oh, you need to rush out to the theater. If you have kids, definitely take them to this movie. If you have kids, they're going to love it. But if you're an adult, then maybe wait a little bit. It's not really a movie for adults. It's a movie where you take your kids to it. Okay, you go to that theater, I'll go to this theater. It's that kind of movie. It's not really something that is for people my age or something like that. There are anime movies like that. This is just not one of them. So overall, while I did enjoy Trolls, I am going to give Trolls a 3 out of 5 or a C+. I didn't dislike this movie. I don't want you guys to think that. There are some aspects of this movie that I really do respect. It's just not really a movie for me. It's more for kids. It's something that kids will enjoy, which is completely fine. It didn't bother me, but it's just nothing that I really could ever see myself watching again. But that's my review, Trolls. Let me know what you guys thought of this movie. You haven't seen it. Love to hear your thoughts on it. Did you like the music in this movie? Did you like the overall message? Was this movie just too kiddie for you? For me, it was just a little bit too kiddie. It wasn't too kiddie to the sense where I hated it or anything. It's not really something that, like I said, I ever watch again. But that's my review. Hope you all enjoy it. We'll see you guys in my next video, which will be for, I think, tonight's episode of The Walking Dead. Unless I can get another review, I don't know. I'm going to be gone all day, so I don't really know how I'm going to do reviews, but I will see you guys for that. Okay, bye.